Aarati Krishnan and you're watching A to Z of stock market investing. Today let's look at R for Red Herring Prospectus. The Indian IPO market is picking up after a long dull phase. We've recently heard that Interglobe Aviation, a private company which runs the popular low-cost airline Indigo, is set to do an IPO shortly. So the company has announced that it's going to raise rupees 2,500 crores from the Indian public. It plans to use this money to list on the exchanges, also pay for its older fleet and reduce the debt on its balance sheet. So the company plans to come out with its IPO shortly. So is it at an attractive PE? What's going to be the offer price? What are the prices at which investors can bid? The answers to these questions are not readily available because the company has only filed a red herring prospectus with the regulator. The word red herring in English is usually used to refer to a wrong trail or a misleading trail laid by somebody to lead you astray. So, in the offer document context, red herring doesn't have that meaning. Red herring prospectus refers to an incomplete offer document which is filed by a company which is seeking to go public. Basically, in a red herring prospectus, the company only mentions the total sum that it plans to raise from the market. It leaves out details such as the price at which the shares are going to be offered or the number of shares that it proposes to offer to the public. Basically, Indian companies which are seeking to list themselves on the exchanges for the first time, they do not actually straight away go and offer their shares at a fixed price. Sebi regulations require them to go through the book building route. So therefore, they fix a price band for their offer and then call for bids from different interested investors for the shares that they are proposing to offer in the IPO. Based on the bids that they receive from all the investors, they collate all the data and then arrive at an offer price. Therefore, this makes the red herring prospectus necessary. A company, when it plans to launch an IPO, does not really know the price at which it will be able to sell the shares. It may only know the total sum that it requires for its capital expansion or other plans. It puts this out in the red herring prospectus and basically allows the investors through an auction process to determine the price at which shares would be offered. Now, before going for an IPO, Sebi requires a company to put out a lot of disclosures in the public domain so that investors are in the know about a company. In a listed company, we know a company has to make regular filings to the stock exchanges about its results, shareholding patterns and so on. But in the case of an unlisted company which is set to go public for the first time, you hardly have any information on the basis of which you can make up your mind. This is why Sebi has prospectus filing requirements. So a company seeking to go public will first file its red herring prospectus or RHP with Sebi itself for a thorough vetting process. Sebi actually goes through the prospectus in great detail, raises questions with the company wherever it needs clarifications, and in the end puts its stamp of approval on the red herring prospectus. It is only after this process that a company can actually initiate its IPO. Sebi has very elaborate disclosure requirements on what companies should publish in their RHP. These are contained in its ICDR regulations, Issue of Capital and Disclosure Requirement Regulations. So basically, companies are required to detail their entire history, when they got incorporated, what is the business that they are carrying on, who are their competitors, what is the market position and so on. Besides this, companies are also required to present their P&L accounts and balance sheets for the last 5 years. They are also required to detail how much capital they plan to raise and where they plan to deploy this capital in terms of projects. Promoters' shareholdings, promoters' other ventures, group companies, all these details are required to be contained in the RHP. Basically, before investing in the IPO, it is good that you go through the entire RHP, which is quite a fat document with a fine-tooth comb, to know about the company's operations, its financials, how it compares to others in the industry, as well as the various risk factors that can threaten the business. Companies which treat the term red herring quite literally and end up providing misleading disclosures in their prospectus or provide only partial disclosures can be pulled up by the regulator even later, many years years after listing. In fact, in the recent case of DLF, we saw Sebi actually pulled up the company for wrong disclosures made 6 to 7 years ago during its IPO. Therefore, as an investor, your best bet while investing in an IPO is to take the red herring prospectus quite seriously.